I'm here. Rest of roll call. Rebecca?
Here.
And Commissioner James.
Take it out.
Haleah?
Oh, no, oh, no. Are you talking to me?
Yep, you got it. I got you. Hi, James. Jim.
All right.
Destry.
Here.
April. April's not here. We'll circle back and see if April shows up in a little bit. Commissioner Jayne Dahl. Commissioner Sharon Dunham.
Here.
Shelley Fagin.
Here.
Oh, you're here. I didn't see you in my little boxes. Ryan Hendricks.
Here.
Fyndi.
Present.
Shoshanna. Here. Am I supposed to say people's full names, Laura?
Whatever you feel comfortable with. It's fine.
Okay, great. Commissioner Sue Pike, or alternate. I know I saw you. Hi, Sue.
I just unmuted, sorry.
Commissioner Sarah Rohr. Sarah here? Okay. Margaret Silloway.
Here.
Ah, hi. Do you go by Margaret or another?
I go by Peg.
Oh, Peg.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, of course, I see you. Sorry, I was
Sure.
reading the roster instead of looking at you. I know you're Peg. Sorry. Sydney Trimble? Sydney? Jacob?
Here.
Okay, I think that's everybody. And has April shown up yet?
Not that I see.
Okay, and the other person was,
We also have Councilor Hasan, I believe, with us.
okay. Hi, Councilor Hasan. All right, well, we're here.
Yay.
What- So anything, so we sent Laura sent the agenda out. And the thing that we're going to do first is a welcome activity, which is kind of fun. But before we do that, is there anything that anyone wanted to add to the agenda? No, I'll take that as a no. All right, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen. And what we're going to do is kind of a fun thing based on when we all had our training. And you sort of pick in this case, it's pick a picture that represents how you're feeling tonight. And we can do it, volunteer style, or I can go down the list of who I can see in my queue over here and call your name. So you want me to call names, or you guys want to just jump in? Can you see my screen?
Can you enlarge it?
You bet.
Okay.
Let me see if my slideshow works right here.
I can also share mine too, if you'd like me to.
How's that?
Yay! Yes, it's great.
Okay. Is there a bar in the middle, or can you see through it? So this is in honor of Women's History Month. So the artwork here is all by women, right? Laura picked it. So I'd say let's put it in the chat if you want to, but let's go down the list and see how everybody's feeling today. So number 1 is by Teresa Berga. It's called Profile of a Peruvian Woman. It's interesting, huh? Number 2 is by Agnes Dinas, is that right?
Yep.
Aphresia is what it's called. Number 3 is by Yoko Ono. Imagine Peace Tower. Number 4, Barbara Kruger, We Will No Longer Be Seen and Not Heard. Number 5, Nan Golden, Picnic on the Esplanade, Boston. Number 6, Micah Rottenberg, 1 Second Sculpture, with Atoy. Number 7, Yayoi Kusama, Infinity Mirrors. And then number 8, Lillian Pitt, a local artist, Round Dance. I think Lillian Pitt's going to be at the Reeser next time. And number 9, is it Jamila or Hamila?
Jamila Clark.
Jamila Clark, Still Life. All right. All right, I'm just going to go down the list. All right, Peg, since I called you Margaret, how you
Yes.
feeling today and why?
Well, I'm feeling good because I had a wonderful show at Celebration of Creativity. And thank you for those who came, especially Rebecca. And I'm seeing a lot of potential for things happening in my life. I'm looking for a condo and I'm seeing some possibilities. And, you know, it's just a nice time right now. And part of it is a group of female friends. We get together and have a good time together. So things are good today.
Awesome. So does that mean you're picking number 5?
Yes.
All right. Shoshanna.
Well, I love Yayoi Kusama's work. She's fantastic. And I love her infinity rooms that she does too. She's really amazing, but because they do bring me a lot of joy personally, just to see them. So, and I'm feeling joyful right now for lots of reasons, but one of the biggest ones is number 1, it was a beautiful day today. It's always nice when it's a beautiful day in Oregon. But number 2, that the Reeser's going to open and we're going to have a lovely, lovely event on Sunday and it's going to be really fun. So I'm very excited about that.
Awesome. Excellent. And is that Jacob?
Yes.
Aha. Jacob, how are you feeling today in pictures?
I think number 2.
Ah, beautiful.
Mhm.
And would you like to share some of your feelings around why you're feeling like number 2?
It looks like, you know, where nature just arranges itself and me allowing myself to be in tandem with nature, with the patterns and styles of nature, you know. So that's why
Nice. And Sue, you're next on my list of pictures. If you unmute yourself and tell us which one is the one for you. You're muted still. There you go.
I'll say number 3. And I can't give you a real good, strong reason. I think it's just the picture itself and the light shining and focusing on one thing.
Excellent. Destry?
There we go. I could not mute it. 7, I am a fan of her work. I've been to several of her Infinity Mirror exhibits, and it's funny because last night at the Reeser, when we were there for the Nubuntu performance, I at one point closed my eyes while they were singing and just tried to picture like what colors it sounded like to me to go home and paint it. And I have it, and I did. I was painting until like midnight, and it kind of came out as it was this picture of 3 blue ovals with like turquoise around them, and then a dark purple background, almost kind of in a reverse way of this. And there's a matter of both kind of peace and then the chaos of my day right now. It's both a car accident and, you know, the beauty and sparkle, which has been, I was having this amazing day, and it shows both sides of the way I'm feeling right now.
Beautiful. Fyndi?
Yes, 7 called me because it's dark, but yet it sparkles. And so that's definitely what I'm feeling like today.
And Nadia?
I typed it in the chat, just a little drowning with the work and stuff. So if you notice me multitasking, it's because I actually am.
But fair enough. Well, Nathan, thanks for joining us. How about you?
Yeah, I said number 2. I'm feeling a little sun-baked today because of the nice, beautiful Oregon weather. And I really like the, this whole, like, it's nature at the top of the hill. It's all chaotic, but it slowly develops organization the more you look at it. And I think that's what I'm trying to do with my day a little bit. So I like number 2.
Nice. How about you, Rachel?
I said 9 for similar reasons to Councilor Hasan. Have a lot to do and have a short but not quite sure how long I have to do it.
Shelley?
I said number 8 because I got to see Ubuntu last night as well. And just reminding me of the colorful women dancing. Their singing was spectacular. It was amazing. And I'm still on a high today.
I'm with you on that one. Let's see. Somehow my order changed. Sharon?
I picked number 3 because I just discovered a relative to my grandfather who I was estranged from when I lived in New York, and she lives in Poland. She has taken in 4 people from Ukraine, a mother and 3 children. The mother and oldest child have started to work. They found a job. And the 2 younger ones just started school this week. And she just texted me about an hour ago and said, "You asked what I can do to help. Would you send blankets and clothes and things like that?" So I'll ask that of everybody here too. I will send them a care package. I drove to my friends at Bullseye Glass, and I picked out blue and yellow, and I'm about to start in on a mosaic sunflower, and with the blue and gold or blue and yellow of the Ukrainian flag. So I am hoping for peace, and I'm imagining it with every fiber of my being.
Thank you for that acknowledgement. Rebecca?
I chose number 5 because I'm also still just glowing from that performance last night. And I mean, just the performance was one thing, but just seeing so many people and everybody was so excited to be out. And I mean, those women literally could have read the phone book, I think, and everybody would have been, but they were extraordinary. They were wonderful. Anyway, so I'm still glowing from that. And I got to go to the zoo today on a beautiful sunny day with my grandbabies and ride a chicken on the carousel. So, you know, life just doesn't get a lot better than
That's awesome.
yeah. Doesn't take much. I'm easily pleased.
Thank you. Jim?
I originally looked in like 3, and then you put up the artist, and as a huge Beatles fan, I decided to switch to 8 because that to me signifies togetherness, and that's what we're doing tonight. And hopefully we can all get together.
Yeah. Ryan?
So I chose 9 because I'm a little bit drowning and I'm trying to work my way out. Trying to open a new building and then helping open the Reeser and all that sort of jazz this week, and you know, ongoing stuff with my mom's estate. But I can see the end, and I can see myself pulling myself out of the coffee that's been fueling me for the past 3 months. So
Nice. Haleah?
Hi there. I picked 6. When I first saw this, I just was drawn to that image, and currently in my world, there's a lot that just feels up in the air. And I just love how that freeze frame, the action, how there's a lot going on and a lot moving. And I just feel like this was a nice moment just to realize that, and I guess essentially also pause. So freezing time, even though a lot is going on. And I would like to learn more about what you're doing, Sharon. My heart goes out to all of who are experiencing this devastation. I have a personal connection to Ukraine as well. My great-grandparents lived there and were married there, and my grandfather was born there. Even though I don't feel a familial connection today, it's just disheartening no matter where it is in the world. But it's I would like to help support what you're doing as well. So thank you.
Nice. And Jayne, did you go?
No, I didn't. I'll go. First, I have to say, Destry, thank you for a chuckle. I looked over at your picture and your head was in front of the dog painting, and it looked like you were having a headband of ears, dog ears. So, and then you moved your head and I thought, oh no, she's not wearing dog ears. So anyway,
But
thank you
that's
for
my
that.
painting of my dog, who is also here in attendance. I did that. That's great.
Tribute to your dog. Thank you for that. I picked number 2, and for other reasons that people mentioned. Many of you know I work 2 different jobs, a real job and a consulting job. And so I get up early, like 5-ish, and do some self-care and then start working. And now I have this meeting. So I like this because not only is it nature, but it's very organized. And for me to fit everything into a day, I have to be very organized. So I kind of liked number 2. So thank you for letting me share.
Wonderful. Laura, what about you?
Okay, so I cheated and I picked 2. So 9 really resonates with me most because it's just such a busy time and in so many good ways, but I just feel like there is a long list of things to do, and I feel like it gets longer every day, and I do some of the things on the list every day, but it's an overwhelming time, and I think the city is reopening, and so we're all sort of just like trying to keep up with things coming at us. And then 6 spoke to me. In fact, the reason why I chose it is so with a couple of my coworkers here, one of them has a property out close to my house, kind of unincorporated Washington County. And we have a community garden, and some of the staff have been contributing to this community garden. And I tried for the first time to plant tomatoes and peppers from seed. So I'm struggling and they're not sprouting. And I'm like, did I overwater them or underwater them, or what is going on? Anyways, that's sort of like my battle with the plants right now. It represents me against seedlings. And I hope that they decide to come out. So there you have it.
Awesome. And was there anyone else? And I'll go. I think I got everybody. All right. If so, interrupt me after I go. So I'm feeling the feelings of 5 because I feel like everybody's kind of come together and is really joyful. Last night was amazing. The choice for that being the very first performance, Ubuntu being the very first show, I just think was brilliant. And I loved every second of it. I was reminded of a group I know and love from the 80s called Sweet Honey in the Rock. And it was complete joy. And I had 2 friends join me that are also musicians who were just over the moon about everything about it. The show, the facility, everything. So sorry, my camera keeps slipping out of place. So I'm feeling that way. However, the one that I'm drawn to is number 7. There's something about it that's peaceful to me. So that's it. So I'm gonna stop sharing now and get out of the slideshow here. and move to the next thing. So I know, Laura, weren't you going to do the virtual public meetings? Maybe we were supposed to do that first.
We should have, but let me just do it. That's okay. So I just wanted to let everybody know that this is an open public meeting, and it's being recorded and will be posted to the City of Beaverton's website, and minutes are still being taken as well. Please use your discretion to mute and unmute. Be aware of what's happening in your background as to not be distracting. And if you have questions, you can use the chat feature to enter those questions. And you can also use the raise hand button to ask your question. I'll monitor the chat. And if we do have questions that crop up, then I'll circle back and I'll help Lynn do that. But other than that, we are recording and we're good to go.
Okay, sorry, I went out of order, but.
No sweat.
All right, well, I guess the next thing is council updates from Councilor Hasan.
Hello, happy Wednesday, friends. Hope you're doing well. It was nice to do a little check-in. Not a ton to share. Since I last talked to you, I think there were two things that I pulled from our agenda meetings that I felt you might want to learn more about or look into. The first one is that we finally adopted our priorities and our council goals. So just dropping that in the chat. It's a pretty long agenda bill, but it does give you some information. Again, we're in this new form of government. We have a city manager, and what happens now is the city manager has been tasked based on the council's strategic goals and priorities to start doing the work in what's been identified in this agenda bill. So that's there for y'all to kind of just look at. And if you have questions, I'm always happy to answer them. And the second thing that we discussed, which we discussed last week, which was our first in-person meeting, was our shelter code. And I went ahead and dropped that in the chat as well. As some of you know, the mayor had gotten ARPA funds to help us build a shelter for our houseless folks. And so we're starting to talk about what does it look like? How do we revise our code to meet the needs of having a shelter in the city of Beaverton? So those are the two main things. I'm happy to take any questions that you have. Oh, I see someone. Go ahead. Yeah, Ryan.
So you said build a shelter. So are you actually looking for new construction, actually building a shelter purpose, like a purpose-built building for it, not just finding something?
Sorry, I shouldn't say build. Thank you for calling me out. It is.
I'm not calling you out. I'm just asking.
This is how like the telephone game happens and people mishear. And I wouldn't say that we're building. I think the mayor secured money to help ensure that we have a permanent shelter for houseless folks in Beaverton. And that could mean, because we have limited real estate, it could mean a build, it could mean a parcel of land, it could mean a lot of different things. We won't know, not that we won't know, but we have to go through site selection. So what are the things we're looking for in a site? And then we also have to update our code, because our current code, according to the presentation we got, doesn't necessarily give a lot of direction around what it means to have a shelter in the city limits. Does that help?
Yep, that's perfect. Thank you.
Great question, Ryan. Any other questions I can answer for you all? Happy to take any questions y'all have. Obviously, make sure you know about Sunday. Yes, Rebecca.
I just have a very quick question. I noticed that you used the term houseless. I haven't heard that before. Is this a new way that we're to?
Yeah.
I mean, I've heard people experiencing homelessness. I've heard whatever. I always want to be PC.
Yeah. I would say I'm not the expert, so certainly Google it. And if anyone thinks that they know more, I do think that, home is what I've been told is home is like a fluid concept, like what home is. And so instead of saying that these people don't have a home, it's maybe gentler to say houseless. Anyone else chime in?
I think what I've heard, because I've been in some odd controversial conversations about this, and I believe it's experiencing houselessness. I think is the direct what we're saying. Cause yeah, home is fluid, as you said. And I think it's you're in this period that you are experiencing houselessness. Rather than, I think we've used it as almost like adjectives for people as, oh, this person is homeless, or using it as a descriptive, whereas no, this person is experiencing houselessness.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks for that.
Councilor
Okay.
Hasan, you mentioned there was something on Sunday. Could you explain that?
Yeah, it's just the open house event for the art center. It's like the big community thing. I'll drop it in the chat to make sure you guys all know about it. But I mean, it's the thing, and
Yeah.
it's super exciting.
Lots of us are volunteering, so
So y'all better be there.
we'll be there.
And here it is in the chat, so you have it.
Thank you.
Okay, well, if there are no more questions for Councilor Hasan, thank you for joining us. And we're on to the Beaverton Community Vision presentation by Nathan Davis.
Hi, everyone. It's great to be able to join you. My name is Nathan Davis, and I am the project manager for the Community Vision. I love doing, this won't be much of a presentation, but I love doing these things with the boards and commissions of the city, because you always find the most passionate, engaged folks. And one of those folks that is on the Visioning Advisory Committee is joining me, Rachel Phillip. Rachel, do you want to kind of give them a brief overview of what the visioning is and why we're here?
Yeah, first I'd just like to say thank you all for your time. We really appreciate it. We're here because we're excited to announce the launch of the 2022 Beaverton visioning process. The vision is a process through which the city gathers input from residents on what they'd like to see for the community's future. At the end of gathering all that information, the vision culminates with the creation of a community plan, which guides the city government in its decision-making. Individual departments in the city utilize that vision to justify changes to existing programming, as well as creating new programming. There have been past visions completed in 2012 and 2016, and some of the things that have resulted from that are the creation of BG's Food Cartel, the city's climate action plan, and the city's affordable housing team and programming, and a lot of other great things. And Nathan, I'll hand it back to you to discuss where we are in that process.
Sure. Thank you, Rachel. Yeah, the exciting part is that we're launching this month. We released a survey over this past week. We're going to be doing one-on-one phone interviews with residents that want to sign up for phone interviews. And we're going to be doing a lot of focus groups with targeted communities across Beaverton. We have several goals for this big visioning process. We want to make sure that we get as many Beaverton residents involved as possible. But we also recognize that there are often a lot of communities that get undercounted and underrepresented in these kinds of efforts. So we want to be as intentional as possible, engaging various communities across Beaverton. So to start off, I'd say if you would like to get involved now, some of you will be helping us out next week or on Sunday with the Patricia Reeser events. We will be having you all hand out some flyers and handouts, letting the public know about the visioning process. But I'd also encourage you to visit www.beavertonoregon.gov/vision, which I will put in the chat here in a second. And please take the online survey that we are distributing out. And if you'd like, you can sign up for a phone interview there. But beyond that, I think one thing that I would love, since we have a little bit of time on your schedule, is to take a little bit of time and talk a little bit about what is the role of art within the community vision. I'll say in a couple of our past vision projects, art has really been a key thrust of a lot of the work that the community has seen done. And things like the Patricia Reeser Center for the Arts and public spaces, consistent branding and art across town, all of those were included in past visions. Whether or not they were implemented or not is up to you to decide, but the vision really is an impetus. It's really a starting point for the city. When the city is trying to make a decision, it's trying to decide what it wants to fund. The folks within the staff, city council members, use the vision as a rationale, saying that they have community support. So really quick, I would love to just kind of bounce some questions off you all and get your input. And see how we can make sure that we are hearing from the arts community when we're trying to create this vision. So I guess a big general question that we'll see if you have any answers to, and I can get more specific if we need to, but I'd love to hear, how do you think art should be incorporated into the community vision, either in how we collect information from the public or the kinds of projects that we pursue?
I have two things. One, Nathan, can you remind us of your position within the city?
Sure, yeah. I'm the project manager for the community vision.
Okay. And then I'll offer a suggestion for more art projects. We need more like, I don't know, I want music. I love music. I know we just did, y'all did the Reezer, but like public, outside, I know summer is approaching. I like summer events. Yes, we need music outside concerts. That's what I think. But yes.
I love that. I love that.
So I would have to agree. Music, I think music would be great.
Can you bring back the street seats?
Street seats. Can you tell me more about street seats?
Laura probably would better speak to that, but it was over by the bubble tea. And it was a really beautifully fashioned outdoor seating arrangement where at that time, people from Beaverton High and ACMA came and they did poetry and they did music. And it was kind of a venue that people can just drop in and drop out of to create whatever, either scheduled or impromptu. Laura, you could probably better speak.
You did a great job. I think the only thing that I would add is that was really a collaboration between our community development department and the arts program. And it was really geared towards placemaking in the downtown core. And introducing interim design strategies, ideas that the city was considering implementing in terms of changes to right-of-way, expansion of sidewalks, et cetera. So kind of testing that out as a pilot, like how would people respond to it, and then using it as a venue to feature young talent. And that it worked out really well. It was a beautiful project for sure. And I echo that. I would love to bring something like that back again.
It would be great. And Nathan, to another point, I work with Kevin Teeter on occasion with the design committee and economic vitality of Downtown Beaverton Association. And there's a lot of collaboration that happens around downtown. And I'd like to see that spread beyond just downtown. I'd like to see it out in the communities down south, the west and the east, and kind of spread that wealth, whether it be murals, music, movies in the park. It could be a whole ton of things, but I do want to see it expand from that core of downtown centric.
Yeah, I love that. I think one thing that a lot of the past visions have been very downtown centric. And really, I mean, that's one of the key themes that has come out of the past two vision processes. We want to enhance downtown and create a vital downtown. And I'm curious, do you know of examples of existing success either in Beaverton or elsewhere that would be something that would be good to replicate or produce more of?
The African Film Festival in Portland would be a very good addition. I think would be much more better to have a film festival in Beaverton and replicating like the African Film Festival that happens in Portland.
Where do they do it? Where is that housed?
They do it at the
Portland State?
It's at the Portland Community College, I think.
Not Portland State. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I could see the Reezer taking something like that up.
Yeah. I think that would be so great.
Mm.
don't know if this is relevant, but I work part-time for Tualatin Valley Creates, and we've started actually this month. We're combining or collaborating with businesses in Washington County, and we're doing artist networking events there. So artists can come and network, and then we're also doing it at a local business, and they can promote their business. So we're doing a kind of a collaboration or kind of co-marketing where artists can mingle and share ideas with each other, but also find out about businesses in Washington County. So that's kind of cool.
Love that. I'm wondering, yeah, what are obstacles that are preventing Beaverton to be the artistic city it could be? What do you see? Ryan?
Parking.
Go ahead.
I just said parking. That's my soapbox. That's all I'm going to say.
I think a great representation of art on any level is a mass representation of culture. And so making sure that we continuously incorporate various cultures and whatever is being represented is going to be key in continuing to keep us alive and, vibrant. As we were speaking, I thought about like the Mexican and like Latin community. I know someone who like put on a very, in recent years, has put on a Dia de los Muertos celebration. And it was like, it was kind of hot, and then but it also held at the museum in Portland. And so like she wants to do that again. And so like, I don't know, Beaverton, how many, I'm rambling right now. I'll stop.
You're doing great. No, this is fantastic. Keep going.
Just has like ideas to incorporate, I guess, different celebrations. I'll stop there because I can ramble more.
So I'll add in. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
It might be fun to have set aside a brainstorming session, because I think I know for sure that we have a lot of great ideas just from one or two of us, and like some of the things that Fyndi said and others, and the issue of parking. I think that's something to really actually have a conversation about. So I would propose that we maybe see if there's a group that you'd like to have volunteer to do a brainstorming session to really, really put our heads together, because it could be really fun.
Nathan, can I ask a question? Are you, of the stakeholder groups that you are organizing, are there any that are arts focused? And might there be a way to plug in any of the commissioners here to that?
Admittedly, we are weak on our arts component of this. And so I think it would be a great idea, going to, I believe, is Lynn's point, of having something that's a little bit more focused, where we can kind of go through some of these questions of what we would like to see and just kind of have a general conversation. One thing we're hoping for, assuming we have the budget and the timeline to be able to do it, is to be able to circle back. We're currently in the process of doing surveys, focus groups, and interviews. Once we've gathered data from the community, what we want to be able to do is come back to a lot of community groups and be able to put this information out in front of the community and start identifying some specific ideas that need to go into the next vision. And so I think there might be an opportunity for us to do a more in-depth focus group with some of you folks that are a little bit more artistically minded, and some other people that you might be able to point out in the community that might be able to help us. And then we might also be able to come back a little later on and be able to have a little bit more of a more specific brainstorm around what we would like to see for projects for the community to take on. I know I've just talked a lot now. Shelley, you have your hand up so politely.
I do. I will probably sound like a broken record to some of the other arts commissioners, but we used to have concerts in the round, which also offered a great venue for dancers. We had ethnic dancers. We had wonderful exposure to different cultures. And we had 3 of them throughout the summer, one a month. And they were a huge hit. They were really well attended. So
yeah, I will second that, because last night after the show, my guests and I went over to Mingo, and all of us are musicians, and we were talking about the concerts in the round, and you know, and Jim just brought it up too. You know, I think that's something to really look at. The other thing is I've seen on occasion, and it happened last night, where there's like people riding bicycles or motorized bicycles or something through that area in the round, which is really like not safe. In addition to being loud and distracting. So it would be great to have something done to prevent that from happening.
Just a quick follow-up. Do you know why concerts in the round stopped?
We ended up changing the date. So my husband actually was the first chair of the visioning committee, and he is a former city councilor. But they changed the date because it was on a Tuesday and the mayor and the city councilors couldn't attend. So when they changed it, it caused a slowdown in attendance. And then we had a couple of really bad weather days where it hit, but people loved it. I volunteered all the time to go there, and people could not say enough good things about it and how happy they were with it. So I'd love to see it come back. It's a great opportunity, and it's a wonderful venue because it's outside.
Perfect. Right.
I can't say enough about it.
I want to tag onto that, but I also see that Ryan has his hand. He's been patiently waiting and has his hand raised. So I want to make sure he gets to talk.
It's a little bit to your point of how you want to see the community and the arts grow. And I think that that we have been kind of downtown centric, which is key and core to the development of the arts within the community. But it'd be really great to see us start working on connection strategies, you know, and what I mean by that is connection in transportation, connection in pedestrian walkways, connections of key core city, you know, so I'm thinking of the Reeser, right? And you look at it and you think about what people do when they go to the Reeser. They eat, you know, they drink, they go to pre-venues and post venues, and in those venues, you got this kind of like 3-section tier because of our massive highways that go through the center of the city, right? And so thinking about how you can connect that core and make it stronger. And then I forgot who it was a while ago. They mentioned that connecting it to the broader out areas within the city and not just the core. I wanted to note that probably one of the most untapped connections that the city probably has and relationships that they can build is with the Beaverton School District. They are like their high schools. If you just look at the high schools, are cores and center of gravities within Beaverton. And not only do they have venue spaces, they are also the kind of the future of Beaverton, right? They're the people that grow up seeing what Beaverton can be. And if the city isn't present, whether it's showing what the arts can do or industries can do, you know, in those locations, then they become disconnected from it. And that comes, I used to be a Westview High School teacher, you know, and you can't get further on the edge of Beaverton than that. You know, and I never really felt connected with the core of the city, you know, as a teacher, and I taught arts. So it's a partnership. It's something to think about. And if you're thinking about trying to get out into the community and outreach out from the center, you know, that's an avenue that can happen. And I'll leave it at that. So
let's go.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
Destry and then Sharon. I want to make sure everyone gets a chance to.
Yeah, mine kind of echoes really what Ryan was saying in a lot of ways. Today, I was speaking with he is the principal of a Chinese charter school here in Beaverton. And I had asked, well, what grade level is that? And it was K through 8. And that made me realize that we have been working on things for high schoolers. And I think that that's really great. But there's also, I mean, who doesn't love elementary school kids doing art? And then especially that level of it being a charter school, that's, I mean, for me as a child, that love is developed. So even if when we're thinking about parking or logistics or having, you know, even an elementary school that's hosting some kind of event, that it's a school, it has parking, and I'm sure, you know, there's a million logistics around all of that, but it's something like a Chinese charter school is including a community that I think otherwise, especially as kids that are in that experience, that are now finding a sense of community or finding art or sharing art that we might be, you know, it's completely different from art we're seeing from children that are raised in Oregon, or even reaching deeper than high schoolers, I think is important when we're talking about diversity and just incorporating all different kinds of people. I think there's an opportunity to reach younger. And another discussion that we've had kind of ongoing within our subcommittee is the definition of art and what that includes. And I have brought up things like, you know, food and culinary art, or even textile art. We can go one direction with elementary school children, but what about people that are in elderly living facilities? And maybe I think it's the Commission on Aging is what they're called, that they might have ideas of, you know, women that are creating quilts. Maybe there's some way of, and not just quilts as a stereotype, but textiles in general, of how could we bridge this gap of, you know, from the pandemic. I think a lot of our older community has been really hit, especially people that are in these nursing facilities or away from home, or I have friends visiting grandparents through glass windows holding up babies, and now that they can't meet. So having some way of maybe conjoining that really young age and an older age that are joined together in the beauty of art or food or whatever it is that we contribute. It seems like there could be some kind of solution as an event space, and just bridging that gap between people who have lived and people who are starting to live.
So I'm gaining that there is no shortage of ideas within this group. And
Yeah.
so maybe Laura, maybe you and I can chat outside of this a little bit later. We can see about doing a little bit of a brainstorm session. Sharon, I'm going to take your comment real quick, and then I've got another question I want to give the group, so I want to be aware of our time. But
I'll be very brief. I don't know if it's Stephen Sparks, if you are involved with him with BSD, with Beaverton School District as long-range planner. Also with regard to the NACs, that is something that I think you are possibly going to be involved in on the 24th when we do our Beaverton quarterly leadership meeting. Are you coming to that?
Yeah, you know. Yep.
Okay, so awesome, because we will have the 10 of the 11 NACs there. I did a call out to 22 NAC leaders of all of the NACs, of all 11. By the way, thank you, Rachel. You were one of them. And got some really rich information that I did about a 5 or 6 page report on. And one of the things was how we can all work together, which is exploding out of that downtown centric and into the broader community. So there's lots to be gained through the NACs as well. I just wanted to mention that, and the matching grants that go along with that through the NAC program, which is going up to $3,500. Bridge Meadows is a really good opportunity for one single example of multi-generational foster care elderly that are working together in a community that's on Menlo and Allen. And I will be quiet.
Thank you, Sharon. Those are great comments. Okay, so really quick, I want, if you can do this in the chat, or I'll have a couple people can respond as you think of these, but we are going to be going out, we're going to be doing outreach with folks. A lot of our conversations are going to be around housing, transportation, public safety, those kinds of issues. But if you were to ask a question to the public about art, and you wanted to be able to gain some kind of information to be able to see what they want in the future in regards to arts, what would that question be? I'll give you a second. You put it in the chat. If you want to be able to blurt it out, that's fine. Ryan, you've got your hand up.
I would ask, should art be I want to say more considered, that's wrong English, have a broader presence in the development code. So like, for instance, we have 1% of art on city projects, right? But you know, the Beaverton School District is about to pass a bond, and you know, and they're like one of the next biggest developers in the city, you know, and again, connecting out and in, you know, to me, it's important that that everyone participate in art, and it doesn't take that much generally, but there's a lot of different ways to do it. Just a question to ask.
I don't know if this is more of a question than a suggestion, but one of the things that I think when we're thinking about schools, it would be great if there's some way to have, I don't know if this exists or not, but instruments available for either really, really low or no rental fee for kids, because musical instruments are extremely expensive. I know because I have a lot of them. And I can't imagine being a parent with several children trying to rent or buy a musical instrument of any kind. So something to put in the bucket.
I like that.
I just wanted to acknowledge a couple things in the chat too. I just want to make sure that you're seeing those, Nathan.
Yeah, I'm reading through these. These look like some good questions. I like the idea with visioning. It's always hard to find what the right question is, because it has to be a certain level between very broad and specific enough that the city can do something with it. But I think you guys kind of get that with the questions that we're seeing in the chat. And I guess the only other thing, that you guys are all very creative folks, I'd love to be able to pick your brain a little bit. Do you know of any creative ways that we could use art to get the opinions and feelings of the future that people want to be able to see? I mean, there's all sorts of things that other communities do, but Wachira,
ask people to create an art form that they believe is a representation of their future, be it song or dance or a painting or inclusive food, or I mean, just anything. Have some kind of, even if it was a virtual submission of what is the art that you see of the future. I think I'm not sure who it was. I think it was Sharon maybe, who was talking about creating her stained glass piece of hope for it in a Ukraine context, which I think is very important all around, but how that context to Beaverton too. What is your hope for this community and how do you express that?
Just to clarify, is the question a creative form to collect? Like, I'm trying to clarify what your question is. Like,
yeah. What is a creative form to collect information? So yeah, I think we're getting some responses in the chat that I think would be workable in some way or another, like being able to do some kind of group collage, being able to do some kind of other kind of art form to be able to explain what you see the city of Beaverton looking like in the future in some way.
Okay, and sometimes I have some pretty outlandish ideas and I don't even know what this looks like in form of a budget. But I remember growing up in Portland, there was like this I want to say like TV channel. I forgot what channel it was, but they had a camera inside of one of the malls and you would like go by and like say something inside of the camera for the channel, and then they would like broadcast it. And I just like thought about taking in data from like random Beaverton citizens about like how they see Beaverton in various forms. Would be like an interesting way to capture information. I mean, you got to be mindful of, you know, that, but yeah.
I like it.
Live stream, but edited.
Yeah. I mean, I love that idea, Fyndi, because the other thing about, you know, trying to collect information, using that same idea in like a booth or a place that it sits, where you have basically a little photo booth kind of thing, but it's a video, where, you know, I would love to have had that somewhere around the Reeser last night as people were leaving, with someone saying, what was that like for you? What was that like for you? What was that like for you? And getting that continuous feedback for every single event that happens in the city.
It's a hard thing to build out, but it's very valuable if you can get that kind of information. And that's
I mean, a photo booth with a video camera is kind of easy, but it's working, right?
Yeah.
But it can be triggered. I mean, I have a security camera that will record for 30 seconds. So you got 30 seconds to say your piece, right? I mean, it's simple. $125 for the camera, and it'll
Put a
record it
Nest
for you.
doorbell up, ring with an
Yes,
idea.
yes, ma'am. Ring with an idea.
Hey,
Really
Laura, Laura, could we get TVC-TV to do something on that order?
I mean, maybe, yeah. I mean, the other thing is they have ways where you can set up a phone number where you can call in and give, like, so if it's not video, people have varying degrees of comfort with video. I'm just going to say that, but like those tend to work really well. I mean, it's something that we can explore. I love the idea. I mean,
Hey, let's put a camera in Puff.
What about a text? What about a text too? Because millennials, honestly, we're not calling people like straight up.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
totally.
tell you right now. And if you're not in the Reeser or in the location of your little ring message, maybe there's a city, you know, text blast that goes out of, you know, text idea to 545454 and have people submit ideas.
Yeah. Or like inspiration images, I think would be great too. Like,
yeah, I
mean, it's hard to invite that because when you do, you also invite people saying what they don't want. However, I think it's a really great way to kind of engage with your city. If you're out and about and you're like, oh, I saw this cool mural, I want more of those. Or I have this like really cool sculptural bike rack and I didn't even, I think it's great. We should have more of those. Anything like that. I think, I mean, they might be like not the best examples, but I think that's kind of what I have.
I love a fancy bike rack.
Yeah, me too.
There's some fun
Well,
ideas.
we're running a little overtime on
Yes.
this. Should we close this out and move to the next agenda item, knowing that we really, really want to keep talking about this?
And
Well,
Nathan, I just want to say, like, I'll have all the chat in the minutes. So if you need to go back and reference it, we'll be able to.
Fantastic. Well, thank you guys all for your time. I really appreciate all of your time and input. I'm going to put in the chat really quick the link to the Visions webpage. There should be a link to a survey there. There's a link to, if you want to be able to do a one-on-one interview, we'll also be doing those. But yeah, so glad to be able to have time with you all. Rachel, thank you for joining us as well. I'm glad to have you here as well. Laura, I'll connect with you later and see if there's anything we can do for follow-up, but appreciate your time.
Yeah, thanks Rachel and Nathan for joining us and getting us all excited.
Thank you all.
The next item of business here is approval of the minutes. So Laura sent the minutes out. Anybody have any updates, changes, comments? And then we'll need to move to approve the minutes as they are if there are no changes.
I'll move to approve the minutes as written.
Second.
Excellent. Minutes are approved from the February meeting. All right, next up is staff liaison update from Laura.
I'm sorry.
Right.
Who seconded that? Who seconded that?
Ryan.
Ryan.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Fyndi.
Okay. I think we're supposed to have discussion and all in favor and all opposed and things like that. Not that I
sorry.
really know a lot about. You know.
All in favor?
I'm sorry, I tried to eke out the discussion thing, but my mouth was full.
Anyone opposed? And anyone's abstain? All right. Looks like everyone's in favor. No one's opposed and no one abstained. Thank you, Rebecca, for the reminder. I'm so excited. I can't hardly do anything right.
I live to serve. What can I tell you?
How dare you on your first day?
I know, Jiminy Christmas. You think I know how to do this.
And one thing we did skip public comment, and I did have one public comment that I
Oh,
wanted to add in case
okay. Yeah, sorry, I did skip that.
Yeah, no, that's okay. That I just had one announcement that I was hoping to share with all of you. As we all know, the situation in Ukraine. I have found a local artist here in Portland who was born in Ukraine and has now called Portland home for quite some time. She is currently selling off every single photo or picture, her paintings in her gallery, and 100% of the proceeds are going to Ukrainian relief efforts. Her name is Tatiana Ostenpenko, I believe is, I've practiced this many times, but Ostenpenko, and I am in contact with her and hoping to have her come speak to us in the future. But in the meantime, I'm going to drop a link to her website in the chat. And I think her paintings are really moving and powerful because they are of her life in Ukraine prior to this. So if you all wanted to just take a look at that, and I have another article that I'll also share. There's some flower shops downtown that are selling sunflowers that have all of the benefits for that also going to Ukrainian relief efforts. So hopefully we'll have more on that from her going forward in the future, but it feels pretty special to have an artist of her caliber donating this level 100% to Ukraine. So just wanted to share that with you all.
Thank you. Thank you for that. I know I found out about a quilting group that's doing quilts. I'll get the details and share that in email. Okay, Laura, you're on.
All right. Thank you, Lynn. Okay, so there's a lot going on. As you know, Nathan just let us know that the community vision is launching. So there's a survey that's out there that's going to be circulating. We're in the middle of boards and commission recruitment. So that's like our midterm recruitment. So if you know of anyone that wants to get plugged into boards and commissions, let them know that there is an opportunity. We have an entirely full roster for our commission, so there are no open spots on our commission, but there likely are on many other city boards and commissions. So please just make sure that I feel like this city it feels really accessible to get involved in a city board or commission. So if there's desire to do it, let people know that the opportunity is there. We have a survey that's live too for the downtown loop design alternative survey. And I sure would love, as that project is coming along and a little bit further along in design, I'd love to have them come and present to this group because it does present a lot of opportunities for art, interventions, activations, expansion of right-of-way. Like it's a really great project. So I think as that gels a little bit more and takes shape, I'll want to have them come and present. You know that we have our new parking garage, the Beaverton Central Garage, and I covered rates last time, but just know that it is available as a resource. And another thing is that there's a housing options project survey, and I can follow up with direct links to all this great stuff that the city is doing as well. So the Reaser is open for all intents and purposes, which is a huge accomplishment, just a huge, I think, milestone for the city. And like, I want to celebrate that. I mean, we're going to continue to celebrate it for quite some time. And I'm sure I will be seeing many of you at performances over time. We do have a big event coming up this weekend, so I will talk a little bit more about that a little bit later. So I did mention that the city is really reopening. We're ramping up in terms of reopening to the public. So we're now offering expanded in-person services across all city facilities. And we're continuing to offer virtual services for community members as well. So we're definitely in that transitional stage right now. So we are coming back to life, and I hope that we can keep everybody safe and continue in that direction. So all right, let me just see if I'm trying to get the highlights here. I do want to just stress that the city really, I think paramount is our resident safety. And should conditions change, the city is prepared to change along with those conditions. And that is, it is going to be in the forefront of anything that the city is doing is just general public safety considerations. So the city council meeting schedule will change, did change starting March 1st. And the regular city council meetings will occur on the first and third Tuesday of each month. The fourth Tuesday of each month is held for Beaverton Urban Redevelopment Agency. While subject to change, it is anticipated the first meeting of each month will occur in person in council chambers. Yay, that's great, that's progress. And remote participation will still be offered, including for visitor comments from the public. The city council will no longer meet on the second or fourth Tuesday of the month unless a special council meeting is required. An upcoming exception will occur when the city council meets May 10th, 2022. And this is due to the primary election and already scheduled budget meetings happening in May. And it's an observance of a holiday, and I probably am going to say this incorrectly. Eid al-Fitr? I'm probably really butchering that, and I apologize. Upcoming city council meeting is, so the one that remains this month is March 15th, and it will feature discussions and decisions on important city topics as usual. This month, the planned agenda items include shelter code alternatives, facilities master plan, housing topics, Cooper Mountain legislative items, Allen Boulevard, 92nd Avenue shared use path, development code updates. That one's for you, Ryan. Don't miss out on that one. And you can always check out the meeting agendas and minutes at beavertonoregon.gov/city council. State of the City is coming up March 29th. Make sure to tune in at 12 p.m. for Beaverton Voices, State of the City, and that will be hosted by Mayor Beatty. Event will premiere on the city's web and social media channels. Major topics include Beaverton's ongoing response to COVID-19, economic recovery, downtown development, ARPA funding, and addressing homelessness. You don't want to miss it. I always love the State of the City. I feel like it's very energizing, and I think we need it right now. So in terms of arts program updates, 10 Tiny Dances, the call is live, you know that. It closes on April 7th. And as a reminder, the event is on Saturday, July 9th, and it will be held at City Park by the newly renovated fountain. Beaverton Arts Mix, Call for Artists, will be released. We're hoping to have that call live March 17th, so the end of next week. This is going to be a change to the band format, and I want to bring everybody along on that change. It's actually a really great change, I feel. So instead of so the last 2 years, it's been a virtual event, and this year we're going to make it a hybrid event. So there will be an in-person exhibition at the Reeser, and it will be much longer. So it will be a 6-week exhibition starting in early September. So the opening reception will be on September 8th, and then the closing reception will be on October 7th in observation of First Friday. So we're trying to kind of grease the wheels of First Friday and kind of let this thing evolve naturally, but trying to like really let people know that First Friday of the month, you can rely on arts programming happening around the city, and you can, get out and explore all the galleries and businesses that feature artists and the Reeser, et cetera. So, so we will have the virtual show up that whole time as well. So It's going to be a change, but a good one. And it is the season opener for the Reserve for their exhibition series. So that's pretty cool. We've gotten a lot of feedback already just from the artists that have previously participated that they're really excited for this change. Okay, so Shine the Light, community celebration at the Reserve this Sunday. Activities begin at 11 a.m. So that's when it opens to the public. Orientation for volunteers from this commission. We're doing that orientation tomorrow night, and that's here at City Hall. So in person, we're going to be in the Columbia River Room from 6 to 7:30 p.m. Getting up to the 5th floor is a little bit tricky because we still have to swipe our badge. So we're going to have to kind of play it by ear. We may have to take a couple groups up and then come back down and greet others. So we'll make it work. I wanted to just say, please bring your vaccination card and ID with you on the day of that event. If you are attending or volunteering, either way, you would need those things.
Hey,
Dosing
Laura,
tour.
quick question. Sorry, are you talking about Shine the Light?
Yes.
Did you say 11? Because it says 10 on the website.
Oh, sorry. Our activities are from 11
Okay, I was like, we're going at 10. Never.
Yes.
Carry on. Thank you.
So our Arts Commission activities start at 11 and they go until 3. Yeah, thank you for the clarification, Nadia. So the part that we're doing, there's performances and activities, and I mean that center is maxed to the gills for the whole day. Our piece of that is we are going to be docents at the 4 public artworks. So we'll have people stationed at each of those artworks. We'll be handing out our public art brochures, which are, we'll have them in English and in Spanish. We will have these art making kits that we're going to hand out. They're like in these little swag bags, and we'll put the community vision stuff in there, the brochure for the season at the Reserve. We'll have a bunch of like kind of goodies in there for people to learn more about what's going on at the Reserve. And then we're going to have a rhythmic gymnastics performance, a couple different performances, and then a demo, hopefully outside if weather cooperates. So lots going on.
Hey, Laura, real quick before you move on from the Reserve,
Yep.
the vaccination, can you clarify, is it vaccination or is it vaccination with booster that's required?
Last I checked, it was just the 2 series vaccination. Yeah, the booster was not required.
Just verifying for everyone's.
Yeah. We are in a little bit of a weird space with the masking requirements. So the statewide mask mandate ends on the 12th, which is the day before the event. And I think that the Reserve is still trying to reconcile whether they will be requiring masks or not. And I haven't heard the final verdict on that. So I would just say,
I think originally they weren't strictly following the state guidelines. They were following the performance guidelines put together by God, I can't remember the group, but it's the performance venue organization across America. So I think they're still following that as far as I'm aware. So
okay. And I will just say, like, my gut tells me that they probably will still require masks at this point because it's just so close to the end of that mask mandate. And let's see, Youth Arts Awards. So we had 29 applications that came in for Youth Arts Awards, and we are meeting next week. That subcommittee of this commission is meeting on Wednesday, March 16th from 3 to 5, and we'll review all those applications and then make recommendations for who we will award those to. So that's really exciting. And I think we extended it by, I can't remember at this point if it was a week or 2 weeks that we extended the deadline, but I think it really created a bit of breathing room and gave students a bit more time to get their applications together. I mean, just human nature is that applications always roll in at the last minute anyways, but I'm happy that we gave it a little bit of extra time. I think we'll be happy with that. Also next week, the Public Art Committee is meeting on March 17th from 6 to 7. So those are our 2 subcommittee meetings, both happening next week. So we have our grants, our 4 grants are all live right now. We have 2 that open and close. The first one was the large grants were supposed to close on March 4th. And we had 3 applications, which is not enough. And so we decided to extend that deadline to the deadline of the second grant, which is the Art Lives Here community grants. So those will both close on the same day, March 25th. And just, it's been really tricky to get the word out about grants. And I also know that there's just a lot of fatigue in terms of applying for these things. So if you can help spread the word, that would be great. I have asked about a postcard. I know we talked about that. It's in the works. That's what I can tell you. We are updating a former postcard, which is just a really general, like, here are our grant types, just so that we have something to carry around with us to, give to people, post in public places. But I just wanted to let you know that I'm working on it with our communications team. City Park.
I'm sorry, I'm on the DEI subcommittee. What time did you say our meeting was next week? For some, I don't have that anywhere.
We don't have a grants DEI.
Oh,
meeting.
okay.
It's just Youth Arts Awards.
That's okay. I was like, that's not in my calendar. Yeah. I need to add it right now. Okay.
Don't worry about it. Yeah.
We're good.
No, we're good. City Park Fountain celebration. As you know, City renovated the City Park Fountain. It was a major project, and we're opening it with a celebration. And the call for artists is up. So we're soliciting proposals from artists who would like to perform that are a little bit like off the wall, out of the box. So that call is live right now, and it closes on March 18th. And let's see. Oh, I wanted to just throw this out there. So as we are reopening at City Hall, we are going to be doing our exhibitions in City Hall and city facilities again. However, we're in this weird time where we just really couldn't plan for our opening date and be sure of it. And so we want to start activating some of the spaces, like the display cases. And I thought there's one in particular up here on the 5th floor that's just outside of our offices. And I was thinking that it would be great if we had interest on this commission to represent some work by our commissioners in that case. So if you have interest in participating, I mean, it's not a very big case, but if you have interest in displaying some of your artwork, if you can just reach out to me directly, and then we'll coordinate how to make that happen. And it would just be a loan of the work until we get an exhibition schedule. But I think it would be so neat for the community to be able to see work by our commissioners. So if you feel game for it, we would love that. And Sharon, your name came up numerous times in conversation today. So I'm pointing the finger at you.
I haven't done that particular display case. I did the one on the lobby, and you have to go through the men's room to get into that, to put things in, which is a little awkward, but so I will help you in any way, because I did 25 artists and 75 pieces on floors 1, 4, and 5. And we sold $1,100 worth of art. Yeah. And that was for a nonprofit gallery.
Yeah. Good. Well, just let me know, reach out if you would like to participate in that. And Sharon, you and I can have a chat about it too.
And when do you have a general time? I know you said the date wasn't set.
Oh, if you could let me know by the end of next week if you would like to participate. I mean, it really is like ASAP, like get the work in there as quickly as we can. And I anticipate that it would be up maybe for a few months.
Okay.
And I can't really give an end date, but I would like to have some idea by the end of next week, because I don't want to just let it sit there empty.
Cool.
Okay. Awesome. I think it's gonna be, I mean, I don't know. I'm excited for it. we used to have, it's the case that we used to have a lot of our sister cities material in. So, and it really is like right outside of our offices. So it's I mean, visitors definitely see it when they come by. So I did send out a poll earlier today. I don't know if you all have looked at your email, but there is a poll that I sent from Poll Junkie. It's a really simple poll. I'm basically trying to establish whether we have 100% willingness to meet in person. It needs to be either everyone is willing to meet in person or we need to stay virtual. So that I'm trying to establish that in an anonymous way without putting pressure on you all to, you know, reveal like where you stand on it in front of the whole group. But we did, yeah, I definitely need to hear back from you about what your comfort level is in terms of meeting in person. And there's a few questions that speak to that, like, you know, in outdoor setting or an indoor setting, do you want people to be masked or do you not care? Questions to that effect. So if you can just finish that, it's really, really quick. That would be lovely, because
could some people be virtual and the rest in person, or everyone has to
it
be
has
the
to be
same?
all in person or all virtual. Our experience in having in-person meetings here in our spaces at City Hall is that a hybrid virtual and in-person do not work well.
And what were the days again?
The days for,
what are the days that we're looking at to get together if we do that?
oh, so this would be for the, I mean, I'm looking at this for the retreat, the second part in April. So the first one would be virtual, and the second one I would like to have it be in person, but I need to have 100% agreement that everybody's comfortable meeting in person.
Laura,
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at it right now, and the third question is, do you prefer indoor or outdoor venues for in-person meetings? I would suggest adding an option of I don't care.
Same.
Well, and also weather dependent.
Yeah, there is a space for you to add a comment at the end.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, I'll take care of it there. Okay.
Yeah, so you can enter.
Okay.
I just want to say I participate in a group that's hybrid, where we have people on site and then we have people who can't, like there are people from different zip codes, like there's someone from Boston and there's who really just locationally can't be there. Mm-hmm. And for those who are immunocompromised or have other kind of that would have appreciated the sort of the technology pre-pandemic. Mm-hmm. I think there are ways. I hear that, and I also would push back on the all or nothing, because I think that there are ways to make it inclusive. I've seen it, but it can be awkward. It is awkward because there's a lot of like when the person wants to talk, there's someone talking in the room, and none of the hallway chatter can happen and that kind of stuff. But I do think there is also a value to considering that there could be a both and.
I hear you. And the position of the city boards and commissions is it right at this point, it needs to either be, it's like all or nothing. Either we have 100% participation in person or we stay virtual. So, that might change at some point if we have the ability to do that. But right now that's what I have been told I can offer to this group.
Got it.
Okay, so the last thing that I have on my list here is this has been a long time coming, but the Public Safety Center, we know that we have a newish public artwork there that we never really got to have a dedication for. So we have scheduled a Plaza naming dedication, which is kind of a tandem public art dedication on June 2nd at 7 p.m. And I will be working more closely with the Public Art Committee on the details of that public art dedication. But I at least wanted to get out in front of you so that you can mark your calendars that there will be a public art dedication and a public event at the Public Safety Center. And that is all I have.
Okay.
Can I
That
put
is
in a
great.
plug?
I have a question, actually. It's backtracking. There was a public committee meeting next week. What was the day?
Oh, the public art, thank you. Fyndi, I know that this is a lot of information for you as our trustee recorder. March 17th from 6 to 7 p.m. is our public art committee meeting.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Quick question, Laura and or Ryan. The last few days I've been getting a lot of things from an unknown source about submissions. Are you sending out, and this is the youth art submissions, are you sending these out individually for us to look at, or I don't open them because I don't know where they're coming from?
Yeah, those are coming from Courtney and they're through Submittable. So they're basically inviting you to go into Submittable and view those applications. And I think
I got the same thing, and one was like a singular one and the other one was the whole kind of list of them, and I did not open them.
Okay.
Yeah, no, it doesn't identify Courtney to it. It was sort of weird. I mean,
yeah,
I kind of
it's
knew
all
what it
done
was,
through
but I didn't
Submittable.
trust it.
Okay, well, you know what? I'm going to have Courtney just reach out to you all directly and kind of walk you through the steps for how to do it if you haven't set up your Submittable. I know she spent some time with other commissioners doing this. It's there's a learning curve to it, so I'll have her just reach out and kind of help you individually. Okay.
Great, thanks.
Can I do a
Now,
plug, Lynn?
go ahead.
Can I do a quick plug? I wanted to add to Laura's list of all these dates that we're having exciting things happen. And on April 28th at 6:30, we're hosting the BCCI is hosting the Voters Forum, which will be the 4 city council races. I believe that 3 of the 4 of them are contested and 1 is uncontested. The deadline was yesterday at 5, I believe, and so I think that we were waiting to hear. It will be at the Reser. It will be televised by TVC TV, but it is a good chance for you to know who is up and running for the 4 council seats.
Awesome, great. Thanks for the info.
What's the date and time on that again?
Thank you,
Sharon.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's at 6:30 on Thursday, the 28th of April.
28th of April, 6:30.
Yeah.
And that's a virtual thing?
You can watch it. It'll be, TVC TV will record it and then push it out after the fact. Yes.
Thank you.
Excellent. So we are at time, and we still have the Arts Commission retreat update that we could talk about, but I suggest that we just move this conversation to our next meeting, except for the dates that we have selected are March 23rd and April 27th. We can move the conversation to email, which would be fine with me, or we could kind of go through what the group of us, Ryan, me, Laura, Fyndi, and Destry all met to talk about this topic. So we could either go over time for a few minutes, we had 15 minutes set aside, or adjourn. And I want to just leave that to you guys to decide what you want to do. Do you want to stay or move the conversation about the retreat to email, knowing that the dates will be March 23rd and April 27th as the suggested dates?
I move that we extend the meeting tonight to talk about it.
Second.
It's fine with me, works for me.
I'll say it's recorded, so anybody who has to leave can watch it later.
Perfect. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen then, because I have the notes from our meeting, and we can kind of go over some of the ideas. We do have this set up into 2 sessions, and some of the ideas here that we came up with, I am in the process of sharing my screen, so one second. We're really, to start with team building here. I'm gonna move this down a little bit. You got some of my other notes here. To have this as 2 sessions, each session being 2 hours each. Cover governance, where we talk about the Robert's Rules of Order. I did get the book, by the way, Laura. Thank you for sending it. Roles and responsibilities of commissioners. We talked a bit about that last time. And then go through an exercise of what's going well, what can we improve, ideas for new things, and then end that session where we can go away with those ideas and think about it until the next session. And then the next session would cover discussing that, what's going well, what can we improve, new ideas, talk about goals, and then talk about guest speakers. Anything to add, those of you who were in this meeting?
As far as time, are we doing it at 6 or 6:30? That's the only thing.
I think we decided last meeting that it's 5 to 7.
5 to 7. Okay.
Yeah.
I was glad I asked. I was totally wrong.
Yeah. We had originally, it was earlier was 4 to 6, and then I just based on conversation from last time, it made more sense to shift it to 5 to 7. So it will be 5 to 7 on both of those days. If we feel we have 100% agreement, we want to meet in person, then I think we're going to try to move the second session to an in-person thing, but only if we have buy-in 100%.
Great.
I will say that one of the things that came up in our conversation, which is not on here, but was something that we all talked about, is that we want this to be fun and nourishing. So, I think that's the overarching sentiment with this retreat, and supportive. So I don't know if anybody else would have things to add to that.
I like the art is food is art. If we are meeting in person, it'd be fun that we could do an interactive or hands-on activity there.
Yeah, I mean, we came up with some really cool ideas. Like, one of the big topics of discussion was not only the diversity and inclusion, but healing through the arts. Now, last year we did have an event that there were a couple speakers who came to talk about that. But there are some really there are a lot of ideas around that theme, and especially, honestly, what we're seeing go on in the Ukraine. I mean, I think any of us who thinks for more than 5 seconds about the reality of regular people like us and what they're going through, most of us being artists, understand the impact of having some kind of an artistic outlet and how that is a source of healing. And I would love to have that be something that during our retreat we talk about how we might bring a program like that to life.
Yeah, that sounds great. And maybe a guided meditation to start us off, or some kind of breathing exercise.
Yeah, absolutely. Easy to do.
Mm-hmm.
So yep. Anything to add? Anyway, I don't really know where to go with this. I mean, it sounds like we have a pretty good outline that, make sure that it's fun. Make it fun.
Merrillhurst closed down, and I think some of their programming went out to Pacific University. But when I worked as a NICU nurse, we were trying to figure out ways in which to incorporate music in the NICU. And we worked with music therapists.
Yes.
Yeah, and so maybe something along the lines of art therapy, music therapy.
Oh,
For
I'm
people,
telling you, I am all about that.
we had her come in and train and help to train us, and then also to do, she would bring her guitar and then sit at the bedside of some of the preemies who could tolerate the stimulation. There's all sorts of research that's been done on that. But
Oh, you bet. I actually just spoke to someone before this meeting who does sound healing. And, you know, I've been in those environments before.
And I think it was you or maybe Destry was talking about involving youth more. And it would be great because I know that we have a program, youth art, it's like art, youth artists program. And it's really harder to get interest or find these teens that are artists. And maybe if we could find a speaker, you know, that's a teen, high school, or maybe from ACMA that can tell us how we can, well, what are they looking for? How can we get them more involved? And then when we, I guess, pursue or offer more art programs, scholarships, whatever, we just know the avenues to send information, like what kind of social media or what platforms kind of thing.
Jayne, is Rob still doing that?
Yeah, but we only have 3 teen artists and only one of them is really active.
Wow.
So yeah, it'd be, and he just goes to the schools and it's just hard to get in and it's hard to have them commit. So we just have to figure out what's their thing, I guess. It's really hard.
It is. And I'm working on
how
the
to
Washington
activate.
County Open Studios and the mentorship program, trying to get that. I think mentorships with youth would be fantastic.
Yeah.
With some of the artists on this commission.
One other thing that that I actually raised the topic of during this meeting was, you know, the idea of making the RESER be accessible to all. You know, when you look at ticket prices, it's not, because there aren't any free shows right now. And so it would be really awesome if there was, whether it's one day a year or one day a quarter or, you know, one show or whatever, where that it's free and it's not only can you attend for free, but parking is free, partnering with TriMet to make transportation free so that anyone can actually go. Of course, they have to buy a ticket, which is not actually buying, but reserve their seat. But, you know, I think oftentimes it's when people are in a place where they can't afford to go experience a performance that they need it the most. So an idea there. And then Haleah, do you have your hand raised?
Excuse me, on that line, what about tapping into our grant program and making some of that funding available for those kind of tickets? You know, people could apply for, you know, grant money, some sort of a whatever. I forget what that's called. But
Haleah, I know that I see that you have your hand raised.
Yes, yes, yes. Thank you. Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Great. A few things. I was curious. I guess the first thing that caught my, oh gosh, now I'm trying to remember exactly, because there were a few pieces of this. My first interest in raising my hand was to ask, as I'm looking at this agenda for the retreat, and specifically looking at, you know, a speaker for DEI and thinking of Chef Gregory, is that something that you'd like us as commissioners to help source and support? I know these are just ideas, but how can we support fulfilling this? That's my first piece. And then in thinking about the RESER as a space that is accessible, especially to youth, just a random idea popped into my head thinking about perhaps we could have, I don't know if it's too big or I don't know, like I guess I was thinking of a casting call to all Beaverton high schools, similar in how we are reaching out to them for youth grant awards, but perhaps a talent show to where they could perform at the Reser, and that could be an event in itself. I don't know how that would unfold, but it's just an idea. And then in speaking to what the last woman had shared, last commissioner had shared with regard to outreach for youth, I feel that we could tap those who have applied for the Youth Arts Award to perhaps further that piece into the schools that we're interested to pursue. So yeah, 3 parts. I think I got them all. Thank you.
Shoshanna, I see you have your hand raised.
Yeah, thanks. I just wanted to add something really quick onto what Lynn had talked about. Many performing arts venues usually get corporate sponsorships for annual or monthly free night at free venue. So before we start, which I think is a great thing, but we would probably want, I mean, that's something that their development department works on really hard, and we wouldn't want to necessarily compete in order to get those funds. They really you really want to make sure that it makes it special for the corporate sponsor, to be honest. So what I'm trying to say is that we would really want to make sure that we communicate with the Reser on what they're doing to make sure that nothing that we do is stealing their thunder, I guess is the word I would use. Yeah, because the development departments a lot of times work really hard to get those funds in order to do the free. Because I know when I worked at a museum, we had a monthly, one night that was free that anyone could come to the museum, and that was a corporate sponsorship. So anyway, that was just my 2 cents.
I just saw this come in the chat about the Afghanistan refugee on art workshops. I don't know. It's sort of worded weird, but it's isn't it art supplies for Afghani refugees?
Yeah, I can jump in. There's actually 2 things.
Great.
One
great.
is there are a lot of Afghani refugees right now that are in temporary housing because there's no housing available. So they're like living in hotels. And so someone had asked me, I was like, what can I do? Please don't ask me to do too much because I can only take on so much, but they mentioned supplies. And y'all were talking, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm on the art commission. Why didn't I think of you all? So that's just one thing. To some of your comments about the Reser, the city manager did share that there is a desire to have some sort of community program that ensures that there is access for folks to get shows. So there is a partnership that's happening, I want to say between Chris and the city. I don't know what that will look like, but it's definitely something that I know she brought it up almost a week ago, maybe 2 weeks ago. So it's something that is very much being thought about.
Nadia, if you think it's appropriate, I might have a conversation with Jenny about it just to see where things are at with that, because in our conversations, I think it was really like that the Arts Commission wanted to be able to sponsor a concert, a free concert, or a series of concerts. And so, if that's already being discussed, I think we should probably express our interest in wanting to support that as a commission and figure out if, of course, it would be collaborative. And of course, we would be working with their development team to not step on toes. So I feel like it might be appropriate for me to have a conversation with Jenny.
Yeah, and I think what she was just saying, and sorry, it's bedtime here, so it's crazy, but that if there are community groups that we want to offer passes to, so maybe that's not exactly the same thing, but that was just a very early primer of what she had
Gotcha.
shared.
Okay. 20 minutes. Okay. Well, I'm happy that at least the conversation is happening about how to make the center more accessible, because I feel strongly about it. I think our commissioners do too. Yeah.
And I think Chris actually spoke to that theoretically in the run up to opening the research. So it just needs to be made a reality.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, just to be candid, I think that they have a lot of work just to get in, kind of flesh. And they're hustling so hard right now. And so I think especially in this first year, I just thought like they could use the boost. Like if we want to do a free event, a concert for the community, perhaps that's something that the city could support, and the city commission, arts commission could support, knowing that they really money is the name of the game. That's just the reality right now. They need to start making money. So I think there's a whole lot of ways we could support that. I think, and I just I say that because I think that sometimes Chris gets a little bit like, he's like, I don't want to overpromise, because he has certain realities that he's contending with too. So I just want to be a good partner and supportive of keeping that place solvent.
Absolutely.
This is just getting good, and it's 8:15.
I know. We could go
but
on.
But it's a sign of what's to come for retreats. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah. I saw April suggested a cultural pass through the library for RESER events. I think all ideas are great ideas. I mean, I think we're going to have so many great ideas. We're going to end up wanting to prioritize them.
Yeah.
Let's see.
So I just wanted to make a comment or a suggestion. Like when we're thinking about the retreat and we're approaching the retreat, we have all these ideas, and our visioning. I would highly recommend, I've been kind of perusing the link that Nadia dropped in our chat about the priorities of the city, that we should probably take a look at that before.
For sure.
Yep.
For sure.
I just wanted to say that before we close the meeting.
Yeah, in fact, Lynn, if you wouldn't mind adding that to the list of topics for the first agenda or retreat session, to go over those priorities in greater depth.
For some reason, I'm not seeing it in the chat.
So
it's right at the beginning.
Oh, at the very beginning?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I can send it to you as well.
Okay. Well, here we go. I think I found it. Okay, I'll try to grab this. If you don't see it, then you'll know I didn't get it. But let's see if I can do it here. And I'll send this to Laura to send out with things there. It's one of these.
I think it would be the first one.
Great. Okay. All right. Well, how are we? Is this a good place to take a pause from our million great ideas and adjourn our meeting?
I think this is a great time to adjourn our meeting.
Okay.
Move to adjourn.
Thank you so much for taking minutes, Fyndi.
Yes.
Good night.
If nobody seconded Ryan's motion, I will.
Oh, I thought I did, but yeah.
I didn't hear it.
Okay. Well, then our meeting for March 9th, 2022 of the Beaverton Arts Commission is now adjourned. Thank you, everyone, for
Nice
being
job, Lynn.
Good job, Lynn. Way to
Thank
go.
you.
Hey.
And Laura, thank you.